Well, we all got together here at Cumulus because we are getting prepared for the Left End reunion show. They're riding again March 11th. So we've got Fast Freddie here from Y103. We have got Thomas John, and then we have got producer extraordinaire Dave Tirpak. And he's going to be, sound lights for the show. And it sounds like it's going to be really something.
Incredible.
What do you got up your sleeve for the production value?
There's going to be videos riding along with the band that have been worked on for months. And it's all the founding members, along with the greatest vocalist we found out of Vegas.
Right.
And Dave LeMaster's coming back in from LA. So you will see the founding Left End members.
Wow. I'll tell you, when they said it was 50 years ago, I really hate that stuff.
Me too.
I really didn't even want to think about it, you know? I feel like 50 years ago. I'm like thinking where I was, and it isn't pretty. And I remember a lot, you know?
Yeah, I hear you. Now, Dave, you've worked with the band a lot over the years. Do you have any special memories, or maybe one memory of Dennis T. Menace that you sit there and go, oh, that's Dennis T. Menace, all right?
It's kind of family friendly.
When I grew up, I would go see his bands before Left End and just sit in the front row and just be amazed at how good he was.
Yeah. I can remember seeing him at the Orange Room.
Yes.
I was thinking,
they were playing 5 or 6 days a week in the early 70s.
Busy.
So everybody saw him somewhere. They have a memory of some hall in town. Most of them gone.
The Wizard, TJ, you used to play him a lot.
Oh yeah, and you figure by the time the Wizard came along, it was all really. I had spent.
They were already established.
Yeah, I'd already spent 5 years because when I moved here, I didn't know anybody.
Right.
I knew nobody.
Right.
And so I would come home. I actually lived in the Y for a little while, and then Steve Miller and I had a house for a while, and so I would just go home, sleep for a couple of hours, and then go out and go see Left End. So they really were like a family. I wasn't like a family to them,
but
they were like a family to me because I didn't know anybody. I mean, it was so bad. I would go. Plus, the sales manager at the station owned the apartment on Midlothian.
Okay.
So I went there for free. So naturally, I was there every night. Left End was there at least every week, and then the Tomorrow Club at that time. I didn't find out till years later. Everybody thought I was a narc. Because and I go, oh yeah, because I would show up by myself.
Yeah,
I was by myself, and I'd walk around, and sometimes I'd go backstage for a few minutes, and then I'd come back out.
Either a narc or a pickpocket. One or the other. They knew he was up to something.
They were sure I was a narc.
Now you've had some wild encounters with Dennis, like on stage, and what are maybe one of your favorite ones that you just blows you away?
I had, there's I hate to keep telling this story because it's going to become old and disgusting.
No, it's legendary.
But the first big show they did in Cleveland was at the House of Buds in Cleveland. Yeah. And their whole shtick at that time was we're the band you love to hate. Mm-hmm. So the Scene magazine did a story, band you love to hate, and then it had the art. And when they went in with Kid Leo, who they didn't like anyway, and they would really be obnoxious. And that was just the shtick that they had. So they had it set up so there was a box of money. A lot of money on stage when they did this first gig. And Dennis would pick up the box and say, "You idiots!" And he'd open it up and say, "Look at all this money. You paid this money to see us, and we don't give a shit about you."
Oh, that is hysterical.
So that was the stick. And then he had a rope about that big around, tied around the mic stand. And it went down around and backstage. Well, backstage it was tied to a couch, big heavy couch. So in between songs, he would grab this rope, and Dennis, he would make this whole big thing, trying to tug this rope, and it's not moving, and then he'd go to the next song. Well, we get to the last song, we take the rope off of the couch, and we tie it around my neck.
Oh my God.
But I'm wearing a really good gorilla costume. So I come around, he pulls it again, and I come out, and I'm like, doing, and I was supposed to attack him, steal the box, and throw all the money back to the crowd.
Right.
So I hit him, and boom, we go. Because the adrenaline is pumping. I've never been on stage for anything, much less this. So I'm over the top, and I'm pounding on him. And he's looking up, and he's laughing. And he goes, "Oh, hit me again, hit me harder, hit me over here."
Oh, wow.
And they're far enough away they can't see any of this. So I'm beating Dennis. And then it would be nice if there was a great ending to this, and I said I made the show. But actually what happened was I got up and realized I had these stupid ass gloves on, so I couldn't get into the box. So instead the box fell out of my hands, landed at my feet, and a fat blonde girl in the front row. I hate to denigrate her, but I've hated her ever since. She ran up, grabbed the box, took off down the aisle, out into the street on Euclid Avenue, and was gone forever.
Now, that's kind of crazy that a Youngstown band got the money ripped off, because it would probably usually be the other way around, where somebody from Youngstown would have took the money and then took off.
Well, I love when they talk about the bars.
Yeah.
And then they would, at the last bar of like Sunday nights, they would leave their equipment and they'd get it. And the bar owners, of course, say, tonight you better take your stuff out of here.
You're right.
And they're like, oh, come on, man, we really don't. No, tonight you better get it out of here. And the next night it burned. That night it burned to the ground. That happened like on 2 or 3 occasions.
I actually had, because I used to write the commercials for all. That's what I was doing all those years. I was writing the commercials. I actually had all the apartment ads that I'd written, and I took them and I lit them on the bottom with a lighter and let them burn about halfway up, and then I hung them all on the wall in the studio. So when Jerry Starr came in, we started office. He shit. It was great. It was one of my best.
That was one of the glory days of Youngstown, when bars just used to mysteriously burn
it's
down.
like, I don't know, man, what happened? But it was so cute. They were like, oh, we're so tired. We don't want... If you want that equipment tomorrow, you better get it out tomorrow.
Well, now was that you telling me that sometimes when these bars would burn down, the feds or whoever was investigating would come in to see if they dropped their advertising?
Absolutely.
Like if they had a year-long advertising contract. So if they decided like 2 weeks before, we're not advertising anymore, it kind of threw a little bit of a clue as to why they went down.
That was the point. That I'd forgotten that part. That was what that ad was. It was an ad that, I almost said his name, had bought, knowing there wasn't going to be a building there. And I wrote it and we recorded it, but...
I think they would have let him out of the contract anyhow. I can't advertise something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It was safe,
but then that shows that they've previous knowledge.
If you hadn't bought the advertising,
I know, absolutely.
No, it's not good.
That would have been really cheap of them.
TJ mentioned the apartment, and one story that's in the book that I wish I would have witnessed is they brought the world famous stripper Busty Russell to the apartment one night.
No, they didn't.
And Busty Russell gets up on stage with Dennis, right? So you could just imagine where this is going. Busty Russell, whatever she was, 50 double D's or whatever, she was famous for that with the tassels and all that stuff. And well, she gets up there, and then of course she takes her top off. And I guess the owner was freaking out because, back then, you just didn't go into a bar and expose yourself and stuff. So just picture Dennis T. Menace and Left End in his bar with Busty Russell up there just going crazy, and she was just going nuts and the band was playing. That would have been one, some people say, people bring all these cameras out. Well, sometimes, though, wouldn't you like to see a video of that to this day?
Well, I'm glad back in the day these smartphones were around.
Well, true. For you and me, there are.
I am really glad for my high school, college.
I'm not saying
whatever.
For everything. I'm not saying for everything, but
instance,
when Busty Russell and Left End are at the apartment, you would like it. Now, what you were doing in the parking lot after or something, no, we don't want to know.
But
so
these people that record, no. But in that instance, you're right. A smartphone would have been beautiful.
So, anyways, why don't we?
And for the gorilla.
Yeah, the gorilla.
I would have liked to see that there.
I would like to see myself.
Now, maybe you and me on stage at Park Inn introduce them. We might not want to see that one, or afterwards. That was probably a good idea, but it's selective as to what you want to see. Okay, so why don't we wrap this up? We got the big Left End reunion coming to Packard Music Hall, and run down the details.
And it's March 11th, and they are the only band. There is no opening band. There will be one intermission, and I think showtime's
8 o'clock show.
8 o'clock show, and they are very prompt. And there's going to be some swag there. There's going to be a merch table, and they're going to have bars throughout the place. Because I said, these Left End people, the fans like to drink,
and when you get close,
prepared.
You can listen to Left End on the radio.
There'll be a closed circuit FM broadcast.
Closed circuit FM radio.
Gary Ramey, our friend at Peppermint Recording, put out a special collector CD with some music that's never been released.
That'll be awesome.
It'll be available that night, and digitally and on CD.
So there's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of surprises and a lot of fun. 8 o'clock, March 11th.
Packard Music Hall. Be there.
Be there, be square.